I decided I have to capitalize on this good weather. Okay, it's gonna be more than enough. Wait for it to cure and then sand it down. Alright, so washed, sanded, ready for primer. Just a light sand. I did get into it a little bit deeper where I saw the brown stuff coming through. Might need to do a little bit more over there, but all in all I'm pretty happy with it. This stuff is really solid. Whatever rust is there is just discoloration more than anything else, but yeah, I'm not taking any chances. As I said previously, I'm only going to do this once in my lifetime.
Alright, so we are back after a very long time. Last since I sanded the hood and this front grille. My compressor packed up and I couldn't get any work done, and finally got hold of a compressor place called Air Power in Belleville, and they did awesome work. The thing runs like never before. So yeah, let me wash this thing down with some paint thinner and see if we can put some primer down. There's a dent there. Where's it now? There. That I'm gonna have to put some filler on. Okay, let it dry. I'm gonna block sand it and then do another coat. I knew this was gonna happen. The wind lifted my top up, slammed it against the paint. Nice. More sanding to do, I guess. Now this is what I call an epic failure. Runs everywhere. My paint was mixed way too thin. So it's like, oh, what was that? It's running down, collecting, pooling. It's just a mess. I'm actually going to take some toilet paper and just wipe the excess away so that I have less sanding to do. Look at how it's running. It is just not great. Well, that's how you learn. Alright, so now I'm in my garage with Tiffany here next to me, still heavily buried. Tried to fix the stuff up of this afternoon. So I've wiped down all the running paint that was pooling. It looks horrendous, I know, but it actually feels okay. On this side where the wind blew my top onto the wet paint, I've wiped that down so that it doesn't make any like coarse ripples. I'm now going to take some 320 grit sandpaper and sand the whole thing lightly, remix my paint because the paint was way too thin. You can see how like diluted it looks, and it also feels very coarse. It feels like sandpaper almost. I'm going to fix all of that, sand it all down, wipe it all down again with finish, and try again. Much better. I'm still struggling a little bit with the pressure on the gun. I need to play with that a little bit more. So you've got spots that looks really nice and other places that doesn't. And this is, again, it's a very, very light coat, so it's not flowing the way you would want it to. The idea is not to paint a very thick coat, very thin coat of primer. I won't sand this again. This is now done. It'll be ready for paint. That one underside's done. I need to flip them both. Just need to get them to get dry first, and then I should have painted the underside of this one first, because now I can't put it down on this ridge. Oops. Anyway, gonna wait for them to dry out a little bit. It's 9:15 in the evening, and then a little bit later come and do the last coat. You might have seen it from the other angle, but I just took a screwdriver and drew a circle around that one single dent that I'm gonna have to fill or try to knock out from the bottom, but I can't leave that. The rest of the hood is spotless. Alright, so this is not gonna dry in time for me to do the underside tonight. It's already almost 10 o'clock. And I like my neighbor, so I don't want to start the compressor again. So what I'm going to do is go to bed now. I've got the gun cleaned. So I'll do this tomorrow after church. Okay, let's see if we can spot this dent. So obviously it's a curved surface, so as I'm swinging this straight edge back and forth, you can see it making contact in one position only, and then I'm gonna drag it forward over to where the dent is, and now you can see, and I can feel it pivoting on two positions. It's so little, but
in the right light than last night when this paint was wet, it's incredibly obvious. So when I have a shiny coat of paint on here, it's going to be very, very in your face. So I'm going to try and fix it. I could probably just try to bang it out from the bottom, but I'm afraid I'm going to make it worse. So I'm actually going to, oh, from here it actually looks worse. I'm going to try to put a very thin piece of Bondo over that spot and then sand it down with my block sander thingy. Okay, that's going to be more than enough. Wait for it to cure and then sand it down. Alright, so I'm just waiting for that to cure. I also spotted some bad patches here where that top blew over the wet paint, as well as here in front where I dripped the paint last night when I cleaned my gun. So those are sanded off. I'm going to have to spray that again because it's silky smooth here now and it's got the proper amount of bite for the top coat here. So yeah, it needs to be consistent all the way around. So I'll just blend in a bit of primer there as well as on this corner as soon as I've sanded this down as well. That's what I wanted to see. Now I'm happy. Alright, so you can see it now no longer pivots on 2 points. It's perfect. And there where I was afraid, there's a low spot. It's also fine. So this could in theory still be a little bit too high. But I mean, it's a fairly pronounced curve if you look at it there on either side of the filler. So I would say that's good enough for me. A little bit foggy in here. I had to shut the door halfway through because all of a sudden just a gust of wind came in here. But anyway, this corner looks really nice now. Let that dry out, and I think I'm okay here. When it dries, I'll see if I can still see that spot with the Bondo, but I did give it 2 coats, like one light coat, did the grill, and then came back to do another just coat on that. So I think it's going to be okay. We'll see when it's all dried off, and then I can flip them over and do the other side, underside. After doing quite a bit of research, I selected metal paints steel clad for the color of this car. And I must say, so far I've been absolutely amazed by the results. When I reached out to them and told them what I was doing, the first thing they said is, you know, that's not what it's meant for, right? However, I suppose they are just as curious as I am to see how this will look in the end. So they decided to become my first product sponsor, and I am super grateful.